look, Rudolph, as we speak today, NNPC has commitments of about $14 billion in loans.
For where? To who did they borrow the money for? What is it? What did they do with the money? I hear that NNPC is borrowing money.
In fact, the latest one is what they call Project Leopard. $2 billion that has been structured. There is an Abu Dhabi based oil company. I think UAE based oil company. I won't mention their names. It's a major company in the UAE, and then there is a Nigerian operator, national oil company. I won't mention the name also. That are the financiers or creditors in that deal. The both of them are financing the first tranche of $1 billion. Then there's a second tranche of $1 billion. I don't know who the financiers are for. But most of these loans has basically been between international oil traders, them, Glencore, Vitol, Trafigura, and then banks, and then multilateral development banks, finance houses. It's called crude oil swap. It's reserve-based lending, PXF. In bank, if you speak to bankers, they'll tell you it's termed as PXF. That's the code name for these loans. It's reserve-based lending where, and this is a very important subject. It's a very important subject because I remember when they were campaigning in 2022, I'd mentioned to someone who is now an essay to the president, I said, this idea of financialization where you forward sale your oil and gas, it doesn't favor you because there's nowhere in the world where reserve-based lending, where you stake your natural resources in exchange for.
All right. Kelvin's internet is.
You sell your birthright for porridge and you get the short end of the stick. That's exactly what Nigeria is doing. So you have all kinds of loans.
These loans, are they who approve who will approve it, or is it NNPC that can do that independent of the government?
NNPC behaves like a government unto itself, and this is why I've always wondered. They behave like a government unto themselves because the first one was a loan that is structured to finance the FG's share in Train 7. Train 7, of course, is the new 8 million ton per annum LNG plant that will add to the existing 22 million ton per annum plants that OBJ built up until 2006. Since then, this is the first time this thing is going to be added. But despite that, they financed the forwards, so they financed their share in that project, by forward selling Nigeria's crude oil and collecting cash up front to give as equity because the FGN owns 49% of NLNG. And it's like an incorporated joint venture where if there's any capital project, you have to bring your share. You cannot tell your partners to carry you and you pay later because it's incorporated joint venture. And this is the model I've always argued for upstream, for oil, that has fell on deaf ears as contained in Section 65 of the PIA. Okay? So you have all kinds of loans. They finance the so-called turnaround maintenance for the Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna refineries were financed through forward sales. They didn't have the money for it. They only got contract award letter from the presidency. Took that contract award letter, went to a multilateral development bank, told them the government is good for it, that they should give them loan. Afrexim gave them $1 billion in 2020 to finance turnaround maintenance, and then they pledged Nigeria's forward future production in exchange for that loan. So as you're producing your cargoes on a daily basis and your operators are giving you your share of profit oil, because you have your profit oil, you have your tax oil, you have your royalty oil. As they're giving you your share of profit oil, you're basically taking those cargoes and you're giving to the traders who are collectors on behalf of the financiers to sell and give back to them with interest. That's what they've been doing. So you can imagine how they are running the country. And because you're giving them the crude oil back as repayment, you basically don't have the dollars you need to remit back to the central bank, yeah, through the external asset manager. JP Morgan is Nigeria's #1 external asset manager because all the crude oil proceeds are actually paid to JP Morgan before it's remitted to the Central Bank of Nigeria because they're in US dollars. Yeah. You don't have the US dollars you need that the CBN needs to be able to do balance of payments and then stabilize the FX rate. And because you're not able to stabilize the FX rates, everything is reacting to that. People, in fact, people have forward contracts for up until second quarter of this year that shows they're expecting the both forwards for FX up to 2,000 naira to a dollar, 2,100 naira to a dollar. Just to show you how fearful they are about the state of Nigeria's net asset ratio with the external asset managers. So the dollars you should give to external asset managers like UBS, like Standard Chartered, like JP Morgan, like Deutsche Bank, like BNP Paribas, you're instead giving to collectors to sell and then remit to the creditors who borrowed you money to finance all these projects that you're financing.